You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes, are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes, because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honours and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST. or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Keep swinging for the fences. It's like this heart is defenseless against a passion that's pumping through my veins. Blood, sweat, tears, it's a calling. And if I can't walk, then I'm crawling. It might flicker, but they can't kill the flame. I can't stop, I can't quit. It's in my heart, it's on my lips. I can't stop, no, I can't quit. It's in my heart, yeah, I'm on it. Till the wheels fall off, till the spotlight fades. I will lift your banner high. I will lift your banner high. Until the walls crash in for the rest of my days. I lay it all on the line till the day.
Welcome into the Thursday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, or for those of you working for the weekend, the Friday Eve edition of the Rick Robinson Show. We are live right here on KLRnradio.com. We do this thing every Monday through Friday, except for the first Monday of the month, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll also be back tonight doing the Jen and Rick Show with Jen Homestead, which we do every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Starting next Thursday night, it'll be a double feature with me. I have a new podcast launching with John Katz starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, so it'll be back-to-back 2 hours. That one, and then the Jen and Rick Show. Now, that one's only every 2 weeks, though, because, more work for me. But it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. For those of you that may be joining us for the first time, you may not know some of what I'm about to tell you, but I went through a divorce in 2020 that I never saw coming. I blame COVID, I blame a lot of the government policies, and I blame the fact that for like 6 months, the now ex-wife and I were constantly around each other. And there were plenty of things that she was able to push down subconsciously, and sometimes I guess even consciously, that she couldn't deal with anymore. So mental health became a big deal for me, because in 2020, well, actually, the day before the clock rolled over into 2021, I nearly took my own life, because I didn't know what to do with what I was feeling. And I don't say that so it's poor me, any of that. I say it because I was with someone for almost my entire adult life. Now I was married before. This was my second marriage. But we were friends since I was 21 years old. She was actually a good friend of myself and my first wife. And then I nearly lost my kids, so I had to leave my first wife. And then about a year later, we started dating. So I had known this person since I was 21. We started dating when I was 25. We were married in 2003. I had envisioned spending the rest of my life with this person. Was it perfect? No. Were there things that we argued about? Yes, every relationship has those. But she was always the person who told me I'm not ever going anywhere until the day that she did. And I did not know what to do. So mental health, and especially men's mental health, became such a big deal to me because I didn't know how to process things, and I was going through counseling and was for a long time and did all the things I was supposed to. I did the journaling, I did this, I did that, and none of that seemed to work. So I started talking about it on Facebook. And then everybody got mad at me because I was talking about it on Facebook. I'm like, look, this is the only way that I start to feel even somewhat normal again, is to put it out somewhere. And I don't know why journaling didn't work. Trust me, I wanted the journaling to work because I didn't and don't want people looking at me differently because I'm basically publicly bleeding all over the place. And that's just the truth of it. Sorry, I just realized I didn't have the Rumble feed up, so I'm trying to fix that. All right, so Rumble's going to get a later start than average, but as of right now, we're on Live 365, Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And also on klrnradio.com, our home website. Anyway, but, you know, so it became kind of a big deal for me. And then I noticed that Katz does a podcast where he occasionally has a segment where he talks about that kind of stuff too. And I was like, you know what? This is something that I've wanted to do, and I'm not necessarily comfortable enough to do it on my own because, you know, I normally spend most of my time in the realm of politics unless it's the every 2-week juxtaposition thing. So we are now doing a partnership, and we're launching that cast next Thursday. So the one thing that I will say, and this is something that bothered me, if you see somebody posting things on social media, even if you think they shouldn't be, mind your business. If you want to support them, support them. If you want to be there for them, be there for them. But don't publicly start calling them out for the things that they're posting. Because trust me, sometimes we don't want to be posting the things that we're posting either. But I know for me, that was the only time that I ever felt any type of catharsis. Even when I was talking to a counselor, it didn't help. I don't know why it helped. Maybe it's because I had been spending most of the last 16 years of my life as a public figure. So maybe putting it out there for other people to see was kind of the only way that I felt any type of healing process start. And I will be honest, I didn't get positive feedback from it, not all the time. But I kind of, I mean, with what I do, that's kind of a given, because not everybody likes the things that you say when you're saying things that they don't agree with or that don't align with their own personal beliefs. But anyway, so that's the whole reason I brought this up, because there's a new show starting next Thursday. Other than that, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Just because we can, we're actually going to be joining, it looks like, I'm trying to find out if that's actually what's going on, because when I looked into it a second ago, it kind of looks like it's devolved into something else. But this is supposed to be Alvin Bragg facing congressional questions about the Donald Trump prosecution. So far, it hasn't been much of that, but they have been hitting on some interesting things. Now, since it's live, I can't really go back. So we're just going to kind of join it in progress and let it play for a few minutes instead of taking the monologue break, because it'll give me the chance I need to get everything queued up anyway. Right now, they're on commercials, so hang on. All right, now they're coming back.
This investigation will go. I don't want to prejudge it. He maintained independence. I was there in court every day. There were no federal prosecutors there calling the shots. They were strictly independent. But it requires that courage and integrity. The pressure is felt on the part of state and local actors. Not all of them may show that same independence, and they may knuckle under and not investigate. And with Donald Trump promising to be a dictator starting on day one, that means to attack the rule of law. We need our state institutions to be stronger. That's the American idea of federalism, not to intimidate, threaten, or put the thumb on their scales.
And so when you talk about intimidating and threatening behavior by bullies, how does this translate into physical threats or the possibility thereof?
Just look at the submissions that the DA made or other prosecutors have made in response to this disinformation campaign, these attacks led by the former president. It opens the floodgates. Mr. Johnson, I don't need to tell you, like the "will be wild" tweet opened the floodgates of January 6th. It is a clear and present danger to American democracy.
When it comes to state prosecutions, which depend on jurors, like the 12 brave jurors in the case in New York, how do efforts like these that we're going through today affect states' abilities to procure juries and jurors to handle or to serve on cases in those jurisdictions?
It creates a challenge. I was there also for the voir dire, the jury selection in the Manhattan election interference and cover-up trial, and you had to get hundreds and hundreds of jurors. Half of them chose not to serve, in part because, right from the get-go, in part because of this climate of intimidation. Several who were selected felt they couldn't do it. I do salute the jury, though, and the judge, and I will say the lawyers on both sides, because they ran a courtroom together where those 12 jurors were able freely and fairly to weigh the evidence, apply the law to the facts, and find Donald Trump guilty without fear or favor.
And not one of those jurors has chosen to speak out, whereas you've had jurors in the Hunter Biden case who decided that case speak out. Why is that?
They're very smart. It was one of the, I do juries for a living, and it was one of the most attentive, smartest, engaged, plugged-in juries. And I think it's smart that they're not stepping forward because of this climate of threats.
I'm sorry, this is contractually required. Did he just say he does juries for a living? Oh, I forgot. When I bring the volume down on that, it takes that down too.
As he sought to do, turning them on the legitimate election results
Learning the new setup.
Of 2020, the level of intimidation that our state and local prosecutors and our jurors, everybody involved.
Uh-oh, that was not what I meant to do either. Ha! Hang on one moment, please. Technical difficulties. I was trying to close out something else and close down the wrong thing. Haha. Oh, let's see. You know what? I think we've heard enough of that anyway, because I was getting kind of bored with it. Besides, I kind of wanted to do this a second ago, and I accidentally screwed it up. So, for the dude who just says he does juries for a living, this is now contractually required, since you couldn't hear it very well a second ago.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
All right. So, what else is going on right now is apparently Donald Trump is giving a live speech, so we're going to join that in progress for a bit, see where that goes. One moment.
Jessica Garvin.
And of course it's going to play an ad.
By allowing law enforcement to arrest illegal.
Nobody cares. Although I guess it is an Oklahoma ad, so I probably could have gotten away with letting it play. Video will play soon. Are you sure it will play soon? You say that, and then it just keeps going and going and going. These YouTube ads are like the old Energizer Bunny. All right, here we go.
And we want to make America great again. We want to make our country great again. We're a nation that's in decline. We're a declining nation. We're a nation that is being laughed at all over the world. We have a leader that's being laughed at all over the world. And
now they're
we're gonna
claiming
turn it
this
around.
is
We're gonna turn
live,
it
but I
around
heard
fast.
this earlier.
The polls are
We're
looking
gonna
like
play it
they're
anyway.
very strongly for us. And if you, no matter where you look, in fact, a lot of states that people thought weren't in play are very strongly in play. Some were actually leading in. But we have to get elected. We have to take this beautiful place, and we have to make it really something very special. Again, right now it's not special. Right now it's being scorned and being used as an example of when they look at the crime on the streets, when they look at all of the problems that we have, they're using us as a bad example of democracy. And they're getting away with murder, and we're not going to let it happen. So I just want to thank you for coming, and I want to thank everybody here. You're all either elected or you're going to be elected again and reelected, and I'm with every one of you, and you know that. I'll be with you always. And thank you very much for inviting me, and we're going to have great success. I think we're going to have a tremendous election.
I just realized I
November
don't
5th
know
is
if the
very
stream can hear
important,
this
but,
or not.
we
I'll
really
have to check
start
later.
much earlier than that. You have North
Anyway,
Carolina.
radio
as an
side's
example.
getting
You
it.
have North
Hang on.
Carolina,
Let me make
September
sure you guys are getting at
6th.
least
You have
some of it.
Pennsylvania starts on September 22nd. These are things different from the old days. We had election day, and you had paper ballots, and you had voter ID. Unfortunately, maybe someday we'll get back to that, but you don't have that right now. But this is an outstanding group of people. I'm with them 1,000%. They're with me 1,000%. We agree just about on everything, and if there isn't, we work it out. And I've had a really great relationship with just about everybody here, and just about all of the senators. And if it wasn't fantastic, it gets worked out. And we have one thing in mind, and that's making our country great. So thank you all very much. We appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
All right, so as you could hear, for those of you that may have gotten a little bit late because I forgot I wasn't sharing the screen to the streaming side, and sometimes you guys can't hear those things when I do that, so I apologize. That being said, from the little bit you could hear, it seems like Donald Trump is starting to try to quote unquote mend fences, what I kept hearing all day today with the Republican Party. Because a lot of the higher ups in the Republican Party did try to hold him and say that it was his fault that January 6th happened, and I don't agree with them. I know that's not a very popular thing to say right now, but I don't agree with him because he didn't cause that to happen. He didn't even instigate it to happen, and the things that they are pulling out of context to make it sound as if he did have been refuted, including the media story that he supposedly was trying to fight a Secret Service agent to wrest control of the steering wheel away from them to point them towards the Capitol. The agent that was supposedly involved in that skirmish tried to testify on 4 separate occasions, and Nancy Pelosi's congressional-led House said no repeatedly. We now have, and we played this yesterday, video and audio of Nancy Pelosi admitting she was caught flat-footed and that it was her responsibility. That is nothing that she has ever said publicly. And Donald Trump is on the record telling them, hey, I have this if you need it. You can have this if you need it. Now, look, I'm going to say this again, maybe for people that are joining us for the first time. I am not a full-on, like, Trump is the savior of America kind of guy. That's not what I do. That's not who I am. If it was, I'd probably be a lot more well-known than I am. But I don't do this to win friends and influence people. Well, influence people maybe. Win friends, not so much. But The thing that astounds me about all of this is going back and seeing what we now have been able to see, that one of the people that was there was willing to testify that didn't happen. You now have one of Nancy Pelosi's key witnesses over some of the stuff that supposedly happened on January 6th that people are going to jail over, who was actually 100 yards away in an underground parking garage at the time that he's testifying to a fight between these two groups of people and swearing under oath that he saw it. You've got, we now know that Liz Cheney was suppressing information. Ladies and gentlemen, I was never a fan of Donald Trump using the phrase witch hunt, but if you can't start connecting the dots to realize how much of this has been a witch hunt this entire time, then I neither have the crayons or the patience to explain it to you anymore. These people on both sides of the aisle were coming after him with everything that they had. Now, you can try to figure out if you know why that is. I'll explain it to you if you would like me to. But you still have the ability to try to make your own decisions and make your own mind up. Now, before we go to the first break, since we blew through the first one, and we didn't take the monologue break, I do have something else that I would like to share with you guys. And this is something that's kind of painful for me to share, if I'm going to be completely honest, because it involves somebody that I once respected very, very much. It's Ambassador John Bolton. Right now I'm looking to see if I can find the clip because I thought I stashed it here somewhere. Hang on. Maybe I didn't. I know it'll be on here somewhere because the other person I tagged it and responded. So one moment, please. Is anybody else's X desktop being completely stupid today? Mine is being completely stupid today. I may actually see if I can get it to work on my phone and just pump it through that way. Oh, wait, there we go. All right, so let's do this first. First thing we need to do, well, I guess we'll do this first. You guys may see this looking a little weird when I first change over to it because I haven't gotten it queued up properly yet, but at least now we know it's there and it's working. So one moment, please.
But this will be a retribution presidency, and I think the Justice Department will be where the rubber meets the road.
You called the New York verdict a fire bell in the night, and you urged your party, the Republican Party, to nominate someone else at the convention. Do you think that that is something that could realistically happen? Is there a group behind the scenes potentially working on this?
Well, I don't think it's realistic, but I do think people ought to have a gut check at least one more time. For most Americans, voting for a convicted felon, I think, is going to be a real obstacle. And you can say all you want that this was a result of political discrimination against Trump. He'll be able to raise the selective prosecution on argument on appeal. But when the case was put in front of 12 regular Americans, New Yorkers like Donald Trump used to be, they found him guilty because I think the facts the prosecution presented were clear. And that is a problem the party will have and could affect Senate candidates, House candidates, gubernatorial candidates. And I think if he's electing the first convicted felon as president of the United States, it's going to cause real damage to the United States and how we're perceived abroad.
Then, given the guilty verdict today for President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, what do you say to those Republicans who claim that Joe Biden has weaponized the Department of Justice and made it his political tool?
Right, and basically shot his son in the process. I mean, it is a conspiracy theory. I can speak as an alumnus of the Department of Justice. You couldn't do in that department what Trump's supporters say has been done and not have it leaked to every major media outlet in the country. It is possible to be the victim of selective prosecution and unfairly so, and also be guilty. And I think certainly that's probably true in Trump's case. In Hunter Biden's case, they're not done with him yet. This is the first case. There's going to be an income tax case, and the U.S. Attorney Special Counsel's investigation into Hunter continues. So it's I'd like to see what the impact of this case is on the election. It will have an election impact, even though it's not Joe Biden, it's his son, and see what people think when Trump says, "Poor Donald Trump." The whole world is against him, apparently against Hunter Biden too.
Do you think Donald Trump is a threat to democracy? We keep hearing that phrase out there. I want to know if you believe it, and if so, practically, tangibly, what would it look like?
No, I don't think he's a threat to democracy or our system. I think he will cause enormous damage in a second term, and it will be a term of confusion and turmoil. But the idea that Donald Trump is going to overthrow the United States Constitution, overthrow the Republic, that he's an existential threat to democracy, gives him too much credit. I think it's important to state the threat accurately. Not to overstate it, not to understate it, but to understand what the nature of the threat is so people who oppose it can combat it more effectively. Overdoing it, I think, gives Trump a break, and that's a mistake.
Well, you've said that Donald Trump doesn't have the brains for dictatorship, even though he has said that he would be a dictator on day one. Does that make him any less dangerous if he's not that smart but still wants to be a dictator?
Well, I think it goes to the point that while Donald Trump has...
I love how they keep taking that out of context.
When it comes to
That's not actually what he said.
Donald Trump, his attention span on most other issues is about equal to a fruit fly's. So that his opponents and even some of his supporters who try and move him away from the most dangerous things that he does will have plenty of room to try and step in. I'm not trying to minimize what I see Donald Trump doing. I think what he was doing at the end of his first term is where he will pick up the day he's inaugurated. And it's serious. But when you say the republic itself is going to fall like the Roman Republic fell, really? People think Donald Trump is equal to Julius Caesar? I mean, give me a break.
He might not be, but this time around, he won't have the safety guards of an H.R. McMaster, the list goes on. Are you concerned about the people that are in his current orbit and what they're capable of doing and how they could influence him?
Yes, I think any administration in a second term doesn't attract the quality of people it does in the first. It just, for the very practical reason, the runway in a second term is shorter. Trump will be a lame duck the minute he's sworn in. And he's got a lot of people around him, basically the people who stayed in the government after January the 6th, who are second and third raters at best. I think the bigger danger, though, is that Trump will insist in staffing a second term on personal loyalty to him above all. He's coming up with his decision for his vice presidential nominee. And I think the two questions on the interview form are, number one, do you think the 2020 election was stolen? And number two, if I told you in a similar situation...
A lot of us think the election was stolen, or at least shady as fuck, dude. Let's be real.
Both those questions are yes, then that person's not going to be considered for vice president. I think you're going to see something similar in virtually all the key positions. That is a very dangerous circumstance, and to the extent the Senate, Republicans included, take the confirmation process seriously, if they see people who are more loyal to Donald Trump than they are to the Constitution, that alone is grounds to vote against him.
Is there a specific person that's close to him now that you see as highly dangerous that you're worried about?
Well, I wouldn't want to give any of them Academy Awards. I mean, I think there are bright people, including some people in the House and the Senate, who have joined this cult of personality. And the smarter they are, the more dangerous they are.
You are giving us some very serious warnings and things to take seriously. But something that I'm going to say is not that serious is a write-in vote. This election is going to be Joe Biden or Donald Trump. In 2020, you wrote in Dick Cheney. You have said you would do it again. Are you really giving a clear and honest warning if you're willing to do another writing that won't help anything?
Look, I bought that argument in 2016 when Hillary Clinton ran against Trump, and I voted for Trump in 2016. I mean, Hillary and Bill were a year ahead of me in law school, and I like to say I'd been bird with him a lot longer than the rest of the country. But after working for Trump, obviously I couldn't vote for him, but I didn't vote for Joe Biden in 2020 and won't this year because I don't think he's fit to be president either for different reasons. So when you have two people who don't cross the bar of acceptability, I think it's legitimate to cast a protest vote. I hear a lot of Republicans who told me a year ago they weren't going to vote for Trump, but they look at Biden and they will choose what they consider to be the lesser of two evils. And I hear other Republicans and some Democrats say the opposite. So, you know, it's an unhappy time for America when these are the two people we've nominated, and it will be a bad 4 years for America, whichever of them wins.
Then are these concerns that you have that serious? Writing somebody in who won't win is not serious.
It's a protest vote. If I didn't vote for anybody this time, it would be a protest vote as well. I'm not going to vote for somebody I think is not qualified, not fit for the office. I'm not going to vote for people whose principles I don't agree with.
All right, Ambassador Bolton, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Pleasure to meet you.
She was kind of flat out whining there at the end. But how far has your political career fallen, and how far afield of you are you now of the Republican Party when the only people that will talk to you is MSD and say, "Oh, Mr. Bolton, how far are you fallen?" All right, before we go to break, I'm going to read to you what I said because I feel like it's only fair to do that. Hang on, I'm trying to get it pulled back up here. Things are being weird now. Oh, probably because I'm still in full screen mode over here. My bad. So the video was actually he said something on part of the quote. He pulled it as part of a tweet, which is what our post. I'm sorry now, which is what I was responding to. And he said in his post, "It is possible to be both the victim of an unfair selective prosecution and also be guilty, but the idea that Biden has weaponized the entire Justice Department against Republicans and conservatives gives him too much credit. It's a plain conspiracy theory and this and more." And then he tagged, of course, the video from last night. So my response was, before we go to break, it's not Biden anyway. That potted plant couldn't find his way to his limo without handlers. There is an administrative state embedded within the executive branch fighting for its survival. This is the true deep state. Also, how many conspiracy theories have been proven and become facts since 2020? When your desire to remain relevant becomes more important than your want to know the truth, this is what you become, sir. I met you in 2015 with the conservative curmudgeon and at SRLC 15, and it was a high point of my career, was being the keyword. All right, so on that note, we're going to take the first break of the show. You are listening to the Thursday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, live right here on KLRNradio.com. We'll be back in about 4 minutes, so get up, stretch your legs, grab a drink, smoke a little bit of whatever helps you think, unless you're working. But even if you are, I won't tell your boss and I don't judge. We'll be right back.
Look in my eyes, what do you see? The cult of personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. I've been everything you wanna be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality. Like Mussolini and Kennedy.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes, are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honours and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes, are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes, because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honours and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
I keep swinging for the fences. It's like this heart is defenseless against a passion that's pumping through my veins. Blood, sweat, tears, it's a calling. And if I can't walk, then I'm crawling. It might flicker, but they can't kill the flame. I can't stop, I can't quit. It's in my heart, it's on my lips. I can't stop, no, I can't quit. It's in my heart, yeah, I'm on it. Till the wheels fall off, till the spotlight fades. I will lift your banner high. I will lift your banner high. Until the walls crash in for the rest of my days.
All right. Welcome back in for hour 2 of the Rick Robinson Show, live right here on KLRradio.com. For those of you listening on the website side, I apologize. Our app that pushes things over there was not responding to my keyboard commands, and I did not notice. I'll fix it in post. For those of you still hanging out in the chat, if it acts weird again, you guys should be fine to hop on over to X, Facebook, Rumble, wherever, and catch us there, because I love Spreaker. We've been on Spreaker for a long time. I really try not to trash talk things that have helped me build my career, but lately they have been breaking things. That's all I'm going to say. All right, anyway, so we're back. We're live, and without further ado, I haven't decided which one I'm going to play yet, because there's been a lot of breaking news. I think we're going to start with this one, because I covered the Pelosi thing yesterday, so I think we're going to start with this one, and then we'll play the others tomorrow, because we usually try to do a little bit more of this on Fridays when it's, supposed to be like Friday fun day and stuff. So give me a second while I get this queued up, so that way we get it ready to go here. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. For those of you working for the weekend, you are to the Friday Eve, as I used to call it when I did the whole Monday through Friday thing. If you do the Monday through Friday thing, the whole 8 to 5, or whatever your schedule, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever, then you have less than an hour if you're on the East Coast. You got a little less than 2 if you're in God's time zone. If you're on the West Coast, why the hell haven't you moved yet? And Mountain, nobody cares. All right. So anyway, I haven't worked that in yet today. I usually do that at least a couple times a show, and I haven't worked that in yet today. Hang on. This is also now contractually required. I apologize.
Giggity, giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
All right, so we're going to get this set up so the folks on the video side can see it too. So 1 second while I do that. And again, this is my good friend Gene Baradelli. He does a show, and I'm probably butchering his last name for the record. I've heard him pronounce it a million times, and I still can't ever seem to get it right. But it's in my defense, it's an Italian last name. So there's that. But this is the latest episode of This Week in Democracy, and as he calls it, dumb-mocracy. I still think he should have put the capital K in parentheses between the C and the Y, but he didn't go for that idea. Anyway, I'm going to keep saying it because I still think I'm right. So this will take us through the monologue break and to the bottom of the hour break. So we're going to basically roll straight into break after this. So I'll count his usually couple minutes break in the middle as my monologue break. So here we go.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 207. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Dumb-mocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. Attorney General Merrick Garland has been held in contempt of Congress after a vote that went basically down party lines. Now, the reasoning behind all this, in case you haven't been following, is that the Department of Justice is refusing to release the audio tape of the interview between President Joe Biden and Special Counsel Robert Hur that was conducted in connection with his investigation concerning the president, then vice president's, retention of certain classified documents that were kept in the University of Pennsylvania, in his garage. You may remember the story, but the whole thing revolves around politics, right? The Republicans want to hear what Robert Hur heard when he concluded that Joe Biden couldn't be convicted of any of these alleged crimes concerning these documents, mainly because he would come off to a jury as a well-meaning old man with a bad memory. Basically, everything we've been talking about in many videos, including one this week, about Biden's feeble mind, feeble body, and all that. Well, the Republicans want to hear what the special counsel heard to come to their own conclusion as to whether or not the DOJ is actually acting in good faith here by refusing to bring these charges. But we all know this is about politics, right? We know this is about an election year, and I'm sure that Republicans want to hear Joe Biden sounding feeble in this interview. And they also want to see if the transcript that was created from this interview matches up to the audio that is heard. But you also know that the Democrats are fighting this not necessarily on principle, but to protect Joe Biden.
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
We're going to get to one of those defenses by Jerry Nadler, and boy, are there some agenda gymnastics here. But before we get to all that, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other shows. And if you like what you see and hear in this or any other video on this little political channel that I have created here, you guys know what to do. You got to smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that really, really good stuff, because all that's going to feed the YouTube algorithm.
Yes, it must feed.
As always, thank you guys so much for all that you do to get the word out about the channel. We're less than 20 subscribers away from 2,000, and it's all because of you. I want to get there really quick. I'm excited to announce all the things we're going to unveil on the channel after we reach that milestone. And all you newbies out there can make that happen by subscribing to this channel. Because you like this video, I hope it earns that subscription as we talk about the agenda gymnastics of this contempt resolution that the House just voted on yesterday. The House Rules Committee is sort of a special committee that a lot of people don't really understand how it works. It is responsible for the rules under which bills will be presented to the House of Representatives. And unlike most committees, which often deal with a specific area of policy, the Rules Committee deals with everything. They're sort of the gatekeeper to the floor of the House chambers. The committee is often considered one of the most powerful committees as it influences the introduction and process by which legislation passes through the House. So this Rules Committee hearing that was undertaken concerning the contempt resolution that came out of House Oversight concerning Merrick Garland and his refusal to release this audio interview was very contentious. On one side, you had James Comer and Harriet Hagerman. On the other side, you had Jamie Raskin and Jerry Nadler. Now, we're going to be focusing on Jerry Nadler here because, well, he's a well-known buffoon. And he's the one that's going to be speaking concerning the reasoning why the contempt resolution shouldn't go forth into the House. And watch the agenda gymnastics he tries to do here, when all he's really thinking, I'm sure, is that we can't allow this interview to be released to anyone, the press, the House Republicans, anyone, because it will damage the president's reelection bid. Let's take a listen to what happened in this committee.
The American people want to see those audio recordings in addition to the investigators in the House of Representatives. So I think that's a very important point to note.
I'm sorry, Ranking Member Nadler, you had wanted to say something.
Yes, I want to say a few things. The basic reason the department doesn't want, I think, the basic reason the department doesn't want to release the transcript is because they have good reason to believe that the Republican leadership on the Judiciary Committee would alter the transcript.
That's a serious accusation. Do you have any proof?
As they did with the Nina Jankowicz matter. She told us that in her deposition of April 2023, the Judiciary Committee altered, by cutting and pasting, altered the meaning of what she had said. And I assume that's the reason that the Justice Department doesn't want to release the transcript. I would also...
Really? So you think the Justice Department knows so much about the proceedings of the House Republicans and how they copy and paste things that they're relying upon one instance when one progressive, Nina Jankowicz, claimed that that happened to her and her words were taken out of context? Really? I doubt the Department of Justice even has Nina Jankowicz's testimony on the radar at this point. They're concerned that this is Joe Biden. They're concerned that this is the president who would come off in a bad light because of the way that Special Counsel Hur set it up in his report, that he's going to sound like a feeble man with a feeble brain. All of this is smoke and mirrors from Nadler.
To point out that, the Republicans are claiming that the DOJ waived the ability to claim executive privilege by producing the written transcripts. Legally, that's simply wrong. Audio recordings have distinct features and law enforcement uses. Release of audio would have a unique chilling effect on future DOJ investigations.
By letting the truth out about the context of the interview, that's a problem. And by the way, this isn't just any investigation. This is an interview with the President of the United States. There is a public concern here about what he said and how he said it. Now, certainly, the committee has the transcript. We know what he said. But there are pauses in speaking that you can hear the tenor of his voice that's important. The public has a right to know how their president responded to these questions, if indeed the special counsel put into his report that he comes off as a well-meaning old man with a bad memory. If he has a bad memory, there's evidence of that. Don't you think the American people should know that? In fact, let's make that the topic of the day here. Let me know your comments about whether or not you think the American people have the right to know not only what President Biden said in response to Special Counsel Hur's questions, but the manner in which he responded.
Also, finding a waiver here would punish DOJ for cooperating with Congress. And I don't think we want to punish the DOJ for cooperating with Congress. I would also point out, contrary to some of the insinuations we heard from my two colleagues to my left, to my right rather, I'm sorry, God forbid to my left, my two colleagues to my right.
Insert your own joke about Nadler not knowing his left from his right.
That Mr. Hur, who was a Republican, who used to work for Bill Barr, conducted a thorough investigation and found there was no basis for charging the president with improper retention or mishandling of classified documents, whereas, of course, the special prosecutor has indicted former President, or got a grand jury to indict former President Trump for mishandling classified documents, and he will have to go to trial. So it's a world of difference, and we should not be... I'm
going to interrupt you there. It is a world of difference because President Trump was president. These documents were procured when the Vice President Biden they were under his control. He did not have the same ability as the president to declassify and move these things.
I'm not going to debate.
Who you're hearing from now is Michael Burgess. I believe he's the chair of the Rules Committee. he's kind of battling back against Jerry Nadler, talking about the context of the facts and circumstances surrounding Biden's retention of these classified documents, noting that Biden was vice president when he took and retained these documents, as opposed to President Trump, who is arguing a different immunity and privilege because he was president, and the president gets to declassify documents while he's in office. It's a very subtle difference that may trigger different procedures and different application of law that Burgess is sort of checking Nadler with, saying that that's not the reason why Joe Biden was suspected of committing these criminal acts. It was because he was vice president and the rules applied differently to him than it did with President Trump. Notice how Nadler brought into play here how Hur is a Republican trying to play politics here, saying, look, even this Republican special counsel couldn't find anything against Biden because he didn't commit a crime. When everybody else knows that the report clearly states that Hur believed he couldn't get a conviction on any charges because of how Joe Biden is. Feeble mind, feeble body.
Debate that with you. I will simply point out that the special prosecutor, Mr. Hur, found no basis for indicting Mr. Biden, while the special prosecutor, Mr. Smith, persuaded the grand jury to indict Mr. Trump.
By your own
That's
admission, Mr. Nadler, you said that Mr. Hur's comments when he related the status of this interview was that the president seemed well-meaning but confused. Now, I think, and you said yourself, you characterized that. I think the American people deserve the opportunity to be able to hear that for themselves. People are smart. They can make that discernment on their own.
His report made very clear that there were multiple reasons for not indicting Mr. Biden. His gratuitous comment about Mr. Biden's...
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. I'll give you a chance to respond, but you're characterizing that as gratuitous is in and of itself gratuitous.
So now you see why we're talking about agenda gymnastics here. Nadler's trying to avoid the main issue that Republicans are bringing up as the basis for demanding the release of the audio recording. It's agenda gymnastics that I talk about in my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Lies, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores. Nadler's trying to quibble with Burgess here concerning the language used by Special Counsel Hur, characterizing Biden's demeanor and the manner in which he testified, his lack of having a memory, his feebleness in appearance, being a well-meaning old man. It's a big deal for the Republicans to actually see that for themselves, to understand the report that Hur released, refusing to bring charges against Biden. On the other hand, Nadler's trying to push that whole comment to the side and say that has nothing to do with why there weren't charges. It was because they couldn't meet the elements or something like that. He doesn't exactly say what the reasons were. He just relies on Hur's report that no charges were being brought and therefore Biden is innocent and exonerated of all charges. But it's much deeper than that here, because there's this comment that Nadler says is gratuitous, which I think is material in a lot of sense. And I think that Burgess thinks it's material as well.
I mean, you do not get to have that.
You can judge that. I don't think it's gratuitous. His comment was gratuitous because, if you read his report, that's not why the president was not indicted. There are ample reasons given in the report for not indicting the president. And given that, not including that, and given
Jabba the Nadler has thoughts. Oh wait, I forgot. This is Gene's segment.
Well, why not then clear the air and make the actual audio of the interview available? Let the American people be the deciders here.
Because
it's a great question, Mr. Burgess. Thank you. If there's nothing to hide, then why hide anything?
What are you so afraid of?
It's this sort of hiding the ball that creates the lack of faith that the American people have in our government when it comes to things that they're trying to say, oh, just trust us, bro. We know it doesn't have anything to do with anything. You don't need to hear this. Well, if you think that there's nothing wrong, then let the American people decide on their own. Or are you afraid that there is something there that people will latch onto and that it will hurt politically Joe Biden's chances at re-election and hurt Democrats across the nation seeking re-election, like you, Mr. Nadler, and therefore it must be hidden because it'll hurt your case to the people, not necessarily the criminal matter that is the subject of the report.
Why hide that from them? People are sensitive because they were told that, say, a certain laptop was Russian disinformation, and 51 members of the intelligence community signed a letter to that effect, and then it turns out, well, maybe it was not.
Because the chairman of the Judiciary Committee has already been caught altering...
May I respond?
No, not until I finish.
Listen, you're not in charge.
Has been caught altering verbal, electronic transcripts in the case of Nina Jankowicz. And we have every reason to believe, or let me retract that. Yeah. We have no reason to believe that he wouldn't do so again.
Really? Now, the person you heard that said that they would like to respond, that's Congresswoman Harriet Hagerman from Wyoming. We've seen her clash with Nadler before. And when we come back from the break, she's going to respond to all of these aspersions that Nadler's casting as a way to sort of contort his way to stopping the Rules Committee from allowing this resolution to go forward to the full House.
This high-speed, portable, instant Wi-Fi hotspot provides a wider range of coverage than standard internet providers. It's equipped with a long-lasting battery that allows users to get online and stay connected for up to 8 hours wherever they are, without any contracts or hidden fees. What's more, the device blocks all ads. Corporations hate that. The device is powered with the finest, state-of-the-art chip technology that makes the Wi-Fi connection so strong that it can power up to 10 devices at the same time, be it in your backyard or the camper van alongside the beaches of Mexico. Once it's on, the Wi-Fi is being transmitted and ready to use, and it works in over 110 countries. No contract traps, no hidden fees, no data usage charges, and no ads. The invention of this device single-handedly threatens to destroy the entire industry of traditional internet providers that profit from charging you with hidden roaming fees. It was created by Richard, an engineer and a former cable internet employee from Atlanta, Georgia. After 7 years working as a technician for a state's cable internet operator, Richard learned that in 2010, Congress passed a new law that stops internet providers from encrypting their signals. In other words, the internet signal was made public as access to it was granted to everyone. Internet providers fought against this, and ever since this law came into effect, the Wi-Fi price has risen by roughly 5.8% each year. This is almost 3 times higher than the inflation rate. That's when Richard realized what was truly going on. He understood that traditional internet services were a complete ripoff. He cracked the encryption methods used by internet service providers to secure their signals and created an antidote for them. He created Ryoko, the ultimate portable lightning-speed Wi-Fi hotspot that lets you get online almost literally everywhere. Because as Richard believes, access to the internet is a human right. His invention caught the eye of investors. They flocked to see whether this would create a cash grab opportunity for them. When an internet provider representative offered him $4.7 million to purchase the patent, Richard immediately declined. He knew that they wanted this product out of people's reach. But the corporations began threatening him with legal action and cease and desist orders. It was then that he realized the impact his invention could have. A group of talented engineers joined him in his battle against greedy internet providers. They perfected the device and prepared it to be available to the wide public. This lightweight device fits into your pocket, but it's supercharged with a Wi-Fi transmitter so powerful it works in even the most remote areas, which is the reason why it went viral among travel vloggers. With them filming their reactions to having super fast internet access in areas where they did not expect it to work. The device protects you from ever using insecure and unreliable public networks again. More importantly, it blocks ads, malware, and phishing scam websites. It saves the average household up to $2,000 annually. Since its launch last year, over 1 million Ryoko units have been sold. But the internet providers are trying to make it impossible for you to obtain this marvel of Wi-Fi hotspot engineering. It has already been blocked from being in traditional convenience and electronics shops. Ryoko is exclusively sold online on its official website, and if the pressure continues, it's possible that it will be closed as well. To spread the word, Richard is selling Ryoko at a 70% discount only for the viewers of this video. He believes that access to fast, reliable, secure internet should be universal. If you want to stand up against corporations and their money grab schemes, click the link below to purchase Ryoko from the official website. The founders of Ryoko are so confident in their product that they are offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. But you have to be quick. It's only a question of time until Ryoko supplies will run out of stock. Don't miss your chance. Click below this video to claim your 70% discount.
Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. So I got a little bit ahead of myself in the previous segment. We haven't seen Hagerman versus Nadler before, but we have seen Hagerman versus Dan Goldman before on the subject of lawfare on the channel. You can see that video in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. There's a link there right now. Harriet Hagerman, as we've seen before, she is a staunch conservative. She's a lawyer, very accomplished orator, really structures her arguments really well. And she has a few choice words for what Jerry Nadler had to say.
Counsel Robert Hur stated on page 1 of his report, our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a vice president. The reason that he recommended against prosecuting President Biden was not a gratuitous statement. It was the reason as to why he refused to recommend prosecution, and it was that because Joe Biden is a, quote, sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, Mr. Hur was concerned that a jury would not be willing to convict. Anyone who wants to see what Mr. Hur actually found and his explanation of what he did, you can go and you can watch the hearing before the Judiciary Committee. But one thing is very clear, and I will go back to it again. The folks on the other side of the aisle keep wanting to say the transcript and the audio are identical. There is no reason why, if you have the transcript, you're entitled to the audio. As a long-practicing attorney, they are not the same thing. The audio is the best evidence of what he said, how he said it, the time that it took for him to say it, and in what ways they may have altered that transcript.
And that's dead on accurate. A transcript basically takes down everything that is said, but what isn't taken down are head nods, movements of hands. The time it takes between question and answer is not noted in a transcript typically. So what Congressman Hagerman is saying here is that the greater context of Special Counsel Hur's statement about Joe Biden's manner of answering questions and how he comes off as a well-meaning old man with a bad memory can only be found in those audio recordings. And if Congress is going to have oversight over DOJ actions like this from the special counsel, they need to explore the context behind the statement made by the special counsel. And by Merrick Garland and the DOJ refusing to release that, that's a contemptible action that Congress should hold him accountable for here.
The moment that they released the transcript and said, this is the interview, they waived their ability to claim any kind of a privilege, and they don't have a legally valid privilege in addition to that. And it's for that reason that we believe that Merrick Garland needs to be held in contempt of Congress.
Now, you see, what Congresswoman Hagerman here is saying as well is that when the DOJ provided the transcript, they opened the door to further inquiry. By releasing the transcript, Congress should also get the audio recording that is the basis for the transcript. You shouldn't be able to deny one without giving the other.
Makes sense, don't it?
Now let's see what Nadler has to say in response to that.
I firmly believe
I will agree with her. I will agree.
Gentleman will suspend. I firmly believe that the American people are entitled to hear this, and I'm grateful that you brought this today. I'll give you a chance to respond, Mr. Nadler, but then we need to move on to Mr.
I will agree with Ms. Hagerman that there is no evidence that the transcript was altered whatsoever.
What? Didn't you just... Wasn't that the whole basis of what you were saying before? So now you're changing your story, you're clarifying, what are you doing here?
It wasn't altered. But in Ms. Jankowicz's case, The transcript wasn't altered. The video was altered. Yeah. And that's what we're concerned about.
We're not arguing the Jankowicz case. We're arguing...
No, but if the Judiciary Committee...
The American people deserve the ability to see that and make this decision on their own. They are sick and tired of being lied to by agencies.
If the Judiciary Committee was dishonest...
And that was it from Congressman Burgess here. He's moving on to the next congressman for their questions. Yeah, we're not talking about the Jankowicz matter here, and I'm sure that there is a whole bunch of context and allegations going back and forth on both sides of that, and that's an issue for another video possibly, but that's pretty long ago, and that issue's pretty much dead and gone. We're dealing with this issue right now. And here, I think Nadler really did a disservice to Joe Biden in his arguments to prevent this contempt resolution going before the entire House. Basically, he's saying, don't pay attention to this stuff. Trust the transcript. It's done by a Republican, after all. And sure, Robert Hur said in his report that Biden came off as looking feeble and a well-meaning old man with a bad memory, coming off as confused. But that's gratuitous. Trust me, it's gratuitous. That's what he's trying to say here. And Hageman's saying, no, we're not trusting you, DOJ, because Special Counsel Hur made a remark in his report, a very material remark in his report, concerning the manner in which President Biden was answering these questions. And that ended up being a basis for him not bringing charges. So we're entitled, as having oversight over the executive, to looking at that. And ultimately, that's what the House did along party lines. They voted to hold Merrick Garland in contempt because of all this. I make this video to only bring up the agenda gymnastics that happens in Congress. Clearly, no one wanted to say, well, we can't bring this up because this is going to hurt Biden politically, because you can't discuss politics in Congress. So you have to worm your way and contort and twist and turn to try to get to that goal. And in the particular case here of Jerry Nadler, his contortions were not enough. But listen, all this here, that's my opinion on what happened here. I want to know what you guys think about all this. Let's get into the comments together. And as always, like and share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the shows. I want to know what you think about this whole contempt of Congress against Merrick Garland. Is it going to go anywhere? Will they get this recording? I'm interested in your opinion on this and any other issue of the day concerning the shenanigans and buffoonery that we see every day this week in Dumb Democracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.
My new book, Keyboard Rich, How Anyone Can Earn Six Figures from Home.
And that is This Week in Democracy, which I guess he probably needs to change. Well, I guess maybe not, because he's doing multiple shows a day now, or a week now. But anyway. All right. So we are not going to take a standard break, but I am going to talk to you about a couple things, and then we'll get back into stuff. So first things first, if you heard me earlier, you heard me say that I literally work about 20 hours a day. Let me explain to you part of the ways that I do that, and that is because I am a huge fan of energy drinks. Up until recently, I've been trying different ones. Pretty much every energy drink known to man I've tried at one point or another, including all the ones you know about, Monster, C4, all of those. And the thing that I hated about those is no matter how well they work, because I will say they usually do work pretty well, they eventually cause you to crash. So I found something. A friend of mine turned me onto it, and then I figured out that they were actually looking to sponsor some folks. So I tried it out for a while, liked it, signed up as a sponsor, and now I'm promoting it. It is an energy drink group called Dubby, and they have, if you're not into the whole over-caffeination thing, because I am one of those people that will tell everyone, when I wake up in the morning, there's way too much blood in my caffeine stream. That's just how I roll. But maybe you're looking for better ways to hydrate, things like that. They have those too. What you can do, if you would like to, is go to dubby.gg. Look over the different products they have there. They have powdered form. They even have now the canned energy drinks if you prefer those. You can put in the promo code RowdyRick at checkout, and get 10% off. That may or may not stack with other offers they have going on, so you can always try to see if it'll let you put in more than one. If it works, great. If not, you still get 10% off. Or if they have a better offer, take my code out. Look, I get paid when you use my code, but I don't care if I get paid. If I cared so much about getting paid, I wouldn't have been doing this for the last 16 years trying to build it in my spare time. I want to get paid, and I'm getting to the point where I'm able to pay my bills doing this kind of stuff. But I'm not ever looking to get rich. If it happens, awesome. If not, anyway. That's a story for another day. I'd also like to talk to you about a subject that a lot of folks consider embarrassing these days, and that's having issues with pest control. I have had, over the last couple of years, a growing issue with a large number of pests because I live in the country. And no, I'm not talking about my kids or grandkids, just for the record. I am talking about finding out that during a recent trip to a movie theater, we brought home bed bugs. Ew. Can I just say that? Ew. Which is why I won't be going to a movie theater again anytime soon, because it's getting to the point where you can bring them home from anywhere. Also, apparently Oklahoma has a new type of cockroach, which is new to us, and it's becoming kind of the dominant species of cockroach in Oklahoma, called a German cockroach. I just had an issue with those. Thanks to my friends now at Testudo Pest Control, I don't have those issues anymore. So if you're in the greater Oklahoma City metro area and you are having an issue with anything from raccoons to roaches to bed bugs to mosquitoes to spiders, all the things that nobody wants to talk about but everybody deals with, do me a favor and give my friends at Testudo Pest Control a call. Number is 405-471-2326. They are in Edmond, but they do the greater Oklahoma City metro area. I live in Purcell. So if you're familiar with the area at all, that tells you how far down they were willing to come to help a dude out. And honestly, I became their client before we flipped the tables and they became mine because I was so impressed with their service. I'm like, I'm going to help you guys grow. So I don't promote things that I don't use, and I don't promote things that I'm not familiar with. It's probably one of the reasons why I'm not making millions of dollars doing this, because people have wanted me to promote things for a long time, and I won't do it unless I've used the service. I absolutely love these guys. They have bent over backwards to make my house better for myself, my adult kids who live here, and also one of my grandkids who lives with us. So if you are having issues with things that nobody really wants to talk about anymore because it's embarrassing, then call my friends at Testudo Pest Control. Again, 405-471-2326. Tell them Rick sent you. Just say. That way they know it's working. All right. Anyway, so we are going to keep things rolling here instead of taking a standard break because we still burned up about 3 minutes anyway because I don't do live reads that often. What can I say? Anyway, so this happened. So the Democrats, because they don't like Flaggate, have been trying to get all things Supreme Court related drawn onto the carpet. And of course, they're calling into question some ethics things, everything else. And I don't know if there's anything here or not. I'm just going to read you the article. This is from Rebecca Downs at Town Hall. Senate Republicans block Supreme Court quote-unquote ethics bill. As promised, Senate Majority Whip Dick Durbin, Democrat Illinois, on Wednesday, requested unanimous consent for a U.S. Supreme Court ethics bill sponsored by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, the Democrat of Rhode Island. Suddenly I have the hiccups, so bear with me for a moment. The move, as was largely expected, failed when Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican South Carolina, objected. All three members sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, with Durbin serving as the chairman and Graham as the ranking member. So other members of the Judiciary Committee, including Senator Mike Lee, Republican Utah, also spoke out against the bill. In doing so, he warned that the bill is a solution in search of a problem, and worse, would itself create another problem for which there would be no solution. As he praised the judiciary, Lee warned that that problem would in turn turn one of our greatest strengths, an independent functioning judicial system, one that has preserved the rule of law in this country for nearly 2.5 centuries, into something of a more political animal, which is not what we want. It's not what the Constitution contemplates. It's not what we've benefited from. Lee also raised points about the motivation of bringing the bill. Is there any great moral offense that has been committed? No. And is there any great violation of the law that has been committed? No. Is there any violation of the law that's been committed at all? No, there is not. The senator was clear on. what we have here is a failure to communicate. No, sorry, that's not what it says. It is something very, very cynical. And what we have here is people on the left that have a couple of cases currently pending before the Supreme Court of the United States, cases that they're worried about the outcome, cases in which they're worried that certain justice might relate them, and that they have some justices that they don't like. They have some justices that they worry are going to reject the bad argument that they've made in those cases, Lee explained. And so rather than double down on making sure that their arguments are good and that that they're persuasive and recognizing that they're not going to win all cases, they're threatening, they're intimidating the justices. The senator continued to warn that the court's foes are doing this specifically to harass, threaten, and intimidate certain members of the Supreme Court in order to influence the outcome of pending litigation. And make no mistake, that is what is going on here. Lee also had warnings about what would happen should such legislation come to pass. They're trying to trigger more recusals of those justices they don't like. The legislation they're offering would create more problems than this would make it, and this would make it easier for them to trigger more recusals. This is not a good outcome. This is a political effort to influence the resolution of pending litigation before the Supreme Court of the United States and threaten justices that don't toe the woke line. All right, let's see how long this is. Hang on. Oh, it's not that long. Let me get it queued up. I think we're going to let you hear this in his words instead of me reading it. And I apologize for those of you watching the video. I forgot to stop sharing, so we're going to move to this one now. Well, actually, as soon as I get back to it, because I kind of forgot to click that button. Are we muted over here? Why do I not have volume? Maybe there's no volume yet. Hang on. That's weird. Hang on. Maybe it's on my side. All right, let's try it again. I think I found the issue.
Tom.
Reserving the right to object. The United States of America has benefited for nearly 2.5 centuries from having one of the world's best, most objective judicial systems in the entire world. While no system run by fallible mortal human beings can be described as perfect, ours is as good a system as has ever existed in the world, as certainly good as any that exists in the world today. At the capstone of that is an entity that exists by virtue, by operation of the Constitution, the Supreme Court of the United States. And this solution, the solution that's being rammed through today, this is a solution in search of a problem that would itself create another problem for which there would be no solution. That problem would in turn one of our greatest strengths, an independent functioning judicial system, one that has preserved the rule of law in this country for nearly 2.5 centuries, into something of a more political animal. It's not what we want. It's not what the Constitution contemplates. It's not what we've benefited from. And why? We must ask the question, why? Is there any grave moral offense that's been committed? No. And is there any grave violation of law that's been committed? No. Is there any violation of law that's been committed at all? No, there is not. What we have here is something very, very cynical. And what we have is that people on the left have a couple of cases currently pending before the Supreme Court of the United States, cases that they're worried about the outcome, cases in which they're worried that certain justices might rule against them. And they have some justices they don't like. They have some justices that they worry are going to reject the bad arguments that they've made in those cases. And so rather than double down on making sure that their arguments are good and that they're persuasive and recognizing that they're not going to win all cases, they're threatening, they're intimidating the justices. It's not just a mountain out of a molehill. They're making a mountain out of nothing. And they're doing this specifically to harass, threaten, and intimidate certain members of the Supreme Court in order to influence the outcome of pending litigation. And make no mistake, that is what's going on here. They're trying to trigger more recusals of those justices they don't like. The legislation they're offering would create more problems in this, would make it easier for them to trigger more recusals. This is not a good outcome. This is a political effort to influence the resolution of pending litigation before the Supreme Court of the United States and to threaten justices that don't toe the woke line. So, Madam President, I withhold my objection at this moment.
All right. Well, I happen to agree with him. I know a lot of people may not, but I do agree with him. There's one other piece that I definitely want to try to squeeze in before the end of the show, if at all possible. So bear with me for just a moment here. Why are you not? Anyway. Actually, now I can't seem to find it, so hang on. I had it pulled up. There we go. All right, so let's go back over here because I think it was on this one. Oh, I do need to talk about this because this was absolutely funny to me. So the other day I played the video of Joe Biden basically at a gun control event. And they started off and they were chanting 4 more years. And it was really muffled. So to me, I started making the joke. I can't tell if they're chanting 4 more years or bring more beers. And then it came out later that night that apparently the Dems are attempting to bribe young voters to drag their progressive friends to voter registration drives. This can include things up to raffles to pay rent and free beer and free pizza. So maybe they were in fact chanting, bring more beers. So while we were playing the bit of the speech from Donald Trump earlier today, Joe Biden was at the G7 in Italy and was looking really, really, really confused. So we're going to let you guys get a look at this once I get it queued up and ready to go. Because he honestly just looks like he has no idea where he is, what he's supposed to be doing. I mean, it's just Biden's every other day since he's been in the White House, all day, every day. Has no idea where he is, what he's supposed to be doing. Yet we're supposed to believe he's the guy that's actually in charge of everything, thanks to people like Ambassador John Bolton, who keep trying to give the man way, way too much credit. But here you go. Hang on, is there volume on this one? Maybe there's not. I don't think I have Twitter muted. Nope, so there may not be volume on this one. If there's not, you can still see it though, so hang on. Yeah, so it looks like there's no audio. But where's he going? What's he doing? Why are so yeah, they're like, hey, you're supposed to be over here, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? Dude, I'm going to say this again. I know I've made this joke before, but some of you may not have heard it from me yet. Dear Jeff Dunham, please come get Walter. It's not funny anymore. I'm just saying. All right, so we're not going to let that play again. So anyway, yeah, there you have Biden at the beginning of the G7 summit, looking lost, dazed, and otherwise confused. So later in the day, he held a press conference with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after signing a new security agreement. So the thing about this thing, and I'm going to try not to run long, but we may a minute or so, is I've already heard some of what we just signed ourselves up for. So we are guaranteeing Ukrainian defense for 10 years. A sitting president should not have the ability to do things like that because that outweighs the will of the American people. And this is another thing that I come back to all the time. These people don't work for us anymore. They haven't technically worked for us since the moment we allowed them into our paychecks. This is why the idea that had been being floated around for forever to reset everything was a wonderful idea. We should have done it a long time ago. We have the ability to do so. It's baked into the Constitution. But everybody was afraid that if we pulled the trigger on it, we had no idea what we would get out of it because too many people don't understand how many safeguards were actually in the Constitution before we started scoring with the Constitution. But just to see if, hang on. We're just going to do this because it makes my life easier. If it will do what I need it to do, and it doesn't look like it's going to.
States and Ukraine.
Okay, so there is audio on this one, and it's not, well, it is kind of long, but we'll let it run for a minute. We're not going to play the whole thing, but I do want you guys to hear some of this. I'm going to try to see if I can get to the point where we can actually kind of see him, maybe. Unfortunately, it's not letting me do a running view of it, so maybe we'll save this for tomorrow. Because now the connection is being stupid anyway. And we are just about out of time anyway. We've got about 5 minutes left, so just to kind of recap for you guys that may be joining us for the first time, I'm always here somewhere. There's like 2 shows that air consistently that I'm not a part of, either in front of a microphone or behind the scenes. Tonight will be one of them. So tonight is a Culture Shift night, which is usually hosted by Ordnance J. Packard and Brad Slager and produced by our very own Cranky Gordon. That one usually kicks off at 8:30 Eastern. Then at 10 Eastern, Jen and I do the Jen and Rick Show. Again, starting next week, every other alternating week, they do Disasters in the Making at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then it'll be myself and John Katz with the new mental health podcast that will be officially announced at the beginning of next week. That'll be Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then after that, Jen and Rick, 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday nights, I'm usually hanging out with Aggie Rican, which is Aggie time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and that's for He Said, She Said. I've been filling in for her regular co-host, Mickey Blowtorch, who has been on extended hiatus and recently just got married, so I've been helping keep that one running for a while. We hope to have him back soon, but I will continue to occupy a second chair for as long as needed. Every other Saturday, I do Juxtaposition at 11 p.m. Eastern with my good friend Ordnance J. Packard, who you've already heard his name a little bit here and there. That is our every 2-week foray into the unusual, the unexplainable, kind of our love letter to Art Bell before George Norrie screwed up Coast to Coast. So there's that every 2 weeks. Sunday nights, I do America Off the Rails, 10 p.m. Eastern. Monday, I'll be back here doing the Rick Robinson Show, tripping over my own name here, at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I do that Monday through Friday. For everything else, check the schedule on the website. It's all there. And like I said, I'm usually involved somewhere. When I'm not doing all that, you can find me as a regular contributor to Twitchy.com, MisfitsPolitics.com, and TheLoftusParty.com. I'm also the executive producer of the Loftus Party podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays, and you can occasionally check him out if you are so inclined. Also on places like Fox News and Fox Business. When they have him on as a guest. He just did Gutfeld earlier this week. So if you are so inclined, make sure you go check that stuff out. I absolutely love it when he hits the line so close that he even starts making Gutfeld nervous. That happened this past week. I love when those things happen. Anyway, I think that's pretty much going to do it for this particular episode. I'll be back tomorrow to do the Friday Fun Day edition of the Rick Robinson Show. We are also going to start trying to incorporate things like spaces and maybe callers. I'm still trying to figure out the technology to get the spaces routed through the board. I think I know how to do that, but we're still testing it out. Also, tomorrow night after He Said, She Said, there will be a special spaces event for Zelda Gabriel, longtime listener and also my significant other who is celebrating her birthday tomorrow, and she has requested a roasting session. I don't know why, but she has. So we're going to set up a spaces group for everybody to come hang out, chat with her on her birthday, tease her, joke with her. Be nice, though. Just be nice. Anyway, I'm just saying that up front. Anyway, so we are going to get out of here, and I hope everybody is having a wonderful, 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 wonderful day. And I'll be back later tonight doing the Jen and Rick Show. And that's not what I was looking for. One moment. This is why I shouldn't be trying to talk and type at the same time. All right, now I found what I'm looking for, which means we've reached the point of the program where I do have to tell you that this particular show is over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
This isn't over until I say it's over!
Closing time.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? Game over, man. It's game over.
Come back later tonight for Jen and Rick. It's not the end of the world, I promise. Also, for those of you hanging out on X, give the show a like. Do a repost. Let's spread the word. I love you guys. Bye.
I love you, Oklahoma. What a great crowd. I love you.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.